on as opposed to what's going on at Lacey Fine, and trying to kind of differentiate between the two, the need for the expansion at at the Camdenton Airport versus what is available at Lacey Fine in the state park.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's not necessarily my pet project. This project was going on when I came here 4 years, and I have been charged to work it and make it happen. Right. Secondly, we almost some people almost responded to that, and then the facts are inaccurate, and sometimes this issue has been looked at FAA planners from already, and I'm not. The economic impact of all of our airports is enormous. And Lacey Fine it does have a runway, but the transportation and the time frame to get to it is troubling. The Camdenton Airport, by the way, we're there. We have, and FAA thinks it's important, as well as MoDOT, or they wouldn't be putting in approximately $2 million already into that airport. We pay 10%, and so they've committed. They see the need for it, and they've made that decision from a planning aspect of where to put the dollars in to meet the needs of aircraft. So we have acquired 11 pieces of property, dealing with 20. The Ryder was one of those ones that we purchased property with. And we are now just waiting on the funding. We will be submitting the request in December, and we'll see in the spring. It's probably a 2-year project. We're hoping that takes place. We have gotten support, strong letters of support from Senator Blunt, Senator McCaskill, Congressman Lukemeyer, Congressman Hartzler. We received a letter from the director of FAA that didn't say we'd get the funds, but said that they supported the project. Right now we're dealing with FAA is dealing with the situation that they want to put their monies into maintenance projects. Of course, the whole infrastructure bill and where that's going to land, we'll see. But we think that, and I've told you this, and this is my personal opinion, but I think it, and we could provide some economic data that would show this, but I think that the extension of the runway for corporate aircraft is one of the biggest economic development things for Lake of the Ozarks that will bring jobs. Corey, our FBO, just did his report, and the activity. Another thing is we're looking at hangars because we're full of but for the year, on a year-to-date basis, single-engine pistons are up 20%, multi-engine pistons are up 12%, single-engine jets are down a little bit, multi-engine jets are up 34%, takeoffs up 22%, landings up 18%. There's activity, and we need that runway. And FAA supports it. All the congressmen support it, and I've been trying to. It was a project that was on my list, and hopefully we're almost there.
Very good. And one other thing before we take another break here, the TCE issue with the soil, that seems to work its way into just about every conversation we have. But the soil that apparently was moved from a particular location that they were concerned about being contaminated with the TCE, moved out to the airport to use for a portion of the expansion process. Where are we at on that? Has there been testing done?
Yes.
Is everything able to move along based on everything that has been done up to this point?
I don't take my word for it. Go on to the site of DNR, Camdenton, TCE, and you will have all the information that you need. Because of comments that people have made and different things, they have are wrapping up the the situation. They have.
I mean, is this the whole situation, or just the portion that the whole TCE issue in Camdenton, or just in regard to what's going on out at the airport?
No, it's everything.
Okay.
There are about 4 different sections.
Right.
You know, everything was pretty. And don't get me wrong, if I was here during that time frame, and we didn't even have an EPA, barely. But I do know that Camdenton met its tests and responsibilities that were placed upon it. But there's like 4 different sections. The issue came up when, at the old Dawson building in the fall of 2015, that Modine was required to test air samples. Since that time, that's one section of it. Since that time, the air samples have taken place in I believe, 23 homes. So that is what generated the keeping in mind, however, that the water quality in the city of Camdenton is good. There are some people that have communicated to scare people, or maybe through misunderstanding. And I'm told, and you can go on that site to confirm, that they have tested private wells in the surrounding area. That has come up negative. So rather than me go through, because it is complicated, but the whole situation, go on to DNR, Camdenton TCE, and see for yourself the situation.
9:43, let's take a break. We'll come back and talk some more. Jeff Hancock is our guest with the City of Camdenton. He is their city administrator. And we talk with Jeff the first, well, actually, in some cases, even the second Wednesday of the month, depending on how things fall out here with the calendar. Glad to have him here, and we'll take possibly some phone calls a little bit later on in the hour. One other topic we want to talk about is a gentleman who is resigning, and we want to make mention of his service to the city of Camdenton, and we'll do that when we return on KRMS.
Absolute Pest Solutions asks you to join them in remembering why we observe Veterans Day. Pause and reflect on the sacrifices made by men and women in the defense of our liberty. A Veterans Day message from Absolute Pest Solutions.
Let's talk water. At Lindy Spring, one call can repair and service all types of units, including Water Right, Echo Water, Kenmore, North Star, and more. The Kemker's vast knowledge of plumbing and water conditioning assures that nothing will adversely affect your plumbing. Lindy Spring believes in 100% made in the USA products. Water quality and knowledge is why Lindy Spring exists. Call 348-5044 or go to lindyspringlakeoftheozarks.com to learn more.
Do you have clutter around your house, extra trash you need to get rid of, or debris from your construction job? At FJ Disposal, you can dispose of all your non-hazardous waste. FJ Disposal is your local dump on the west side of the Lake of the Ozarks, located just outside Laurie on Highway 135. Open Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30, rain or shine. You dump inside their building, keeping you out of the elements. Check out the website at fjdisposal.com, or for pricing or questions, call 573-374-5522. American men and women have been called upon many times to defend our freedom. Many paid the ultimate price. The Bank of Sullivan believes it is fitting that we reflect on their sacrifices and salute the troops. The Bank of Sullivan is proud to join in observance of Veterans Day.
This is Bill Munhausen for Creation Expo. Life always comes from life. It's a scientific law, an observation we never see violated. Living things never develop spontaneously from non-living chemicals. Yet this is what is required for evolution to be true. Evolutionists have to assume life came from dead materials by an undirected process. Or as creationist Kent Hovind is fond of saying, evolutionists think we evolved from a rock. Evolutionary biologists have searched in vain for any process that might produce life from non-living material. The obvious alternative is creation. If it wasn't for their philosophy, all scientists would consider that life on Earth had to be created and designed by another living intelligence. Life comes from life. It's not only what believers ought to believe, science should too. If you want to learn more, visit creationxpo.com.
Deck the Ducks is back for the 7th year. Make your reservation for the popular Benefactors Cruise aboard the Celebration on Tuesday, November 28th. A sit-down dinner will be provided by JJ's at the Copper Pot with entertainment by Dale Blue. All proceeds from this Deck the Ducks event on November 28th go to the Dogwood Animal Shelter. Limited seating is available. Make your reservation by going to cruiselakeoftheozarks.com or call Celebration Cruises at 573-480-3212.
The president handed out some grades for his first month in office.
A, in terms of what I've actually done, but in terms of messaging, I'd give myself a C or a C+.
The Ozarks this morning. News Talk KRMS.
9:47 is our time. Thanks for joining us on the Ozarks this morning / Morning Magazine. My guest is Jeff Hancock, City Administrator from the City of Camdenton. We are taking the time to talk about some of the issues going on, and kind of a big issue, I would say, for the city, and that is Dan Hagedorn stepping down after many years on the Board of Aldermen in that city. And, of course, I work closely with his son, Luke, when we do football, and his wife, Sharon, is just an incredible lady as well. The Hagedorn family, just a great bunch of folks. And sorry to see Dan have to step down, but, again, the legacy he has left for the city of Camdenton is huge.
Yeah, Dan, great guy. I knew him when I was here in '76. He's a high school counselor. Mm-hmm. Wore these ties. That was his. And he brought, when he formally resigned, he communicated, it's getting kind of bad, mm-hmm. and you need to move on. Last night, the council recognized him, did a resolution of appreciation. He was not available. Dan, if you're out there, we think the world of you, and you certainly left a mark for the city of Camdenton, and you're,
in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to say his sense of humor. We were last night. He always at the end would vote to pay the bills. He was president of the board for I don't know how many years, and he always at the end would pay the bills, vote to pay the bills, and also make the motion to adjourn the building or the meeting. And he always had poems.
Yeah.
He'd do these poems, and they were great. And so Sandy Gentry is our new president, and she'll do a great job. But she didn't have any poems last night. But, Dan, we're thinking about you and want you to know that the council recognized you last night at their council meeting, and God bless.
Let's take some phone calls. 9:50 is our time. We've got a couple of callers on the line. I ask folks just to be patient. We'll get to you as quickly as possible. And, caller, we'll start with you. You're on KRMS. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, sir. Good morning.
Great. I always enjoy your show, of course. First of all, I want to identify myself. I'm Don Barrett, and Camdenton is my home, has been for the past 40-plus years. I love this part of the country. I love the people. And I have a vested interest in keeping everything safe for people that I love. And you brought up that you were here when all this started at Dawson's. And I'm glad you were, because I have a few questions. Also, before I start, the DNR is putting together a core committee to further look into this TCE problem for what's going on with it, and to get some facts and figures and make sure that we're safe. We're not out for a vendetta or to sue or anything. We just want to make sure that what we have and what we live and how our environment is safe, which DNR should have done a long time ago. It didn't have a whole lot to do with EPA, but DNR should have been involved further, but now they are getting involved. But, I have a question, since you were there. Who authorized the Mulberry well to be put back online knowing it was polluted? And that infected a lot of people with a lot of diseases that are showing up now.
Well, and I think you're talking about 1999, aren't you, Don?
Correct.
Yeah. And that's something that came to light. And I don't know the exact situation, but in January, and I'm going to use rough things, so don't take me. And you probably have as much information as I do, but it was.
But we didn't have until we started looking into it.
Yeah,
Everybody ignored it.
And there was some stuff that came out, and I'm glad, that clarified. And so this is my understanding. It was shut down in January, wasn't that correct, Don, in 1999?
Correct.
Yeah, and then and the city was, because of levels that were going up, was in the process of building a new well. And we found out, the DNR, some of the information, I believe that it was turned on once or twice in February.
Correct.
Is that the information that you've got, Don?
Right.
And then it never was used again. And
but knowing full well it was polluted, we put that back online. I don't know, I wasn't involved in it, but
yeah,
it was
so
back online, knowing full well that it had dangerous amounts of TCE in it, and people were allowed to drink it instead of having a boil order or get fresh water or whatever. And that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and I don't know I wasn't there during that time period, but so once or twice for a short time it was turned back on, and we learned that through your efforts and DNR's efforts. I don't know all the background why. I do know that that's part of the whole total system, that went in, and I can't answer it exactly. So that's the bottom line. When I was talking about being here, I was here in 1976 and 79, and we had lagoons and EPA and DNR we didn't have, and in my career you had such things. Right after that, got into the 80s of pretreatment, and industry was required to have pretreatment, but that wasn't the case back then.
I was in the automobile business prior to that, and we couldn't dump our cleaning solutions. We had to have it picked up and dealt with. And when I built the bowling alley in 75 and resurfaced the lanes for the first time, we had to have the sawdust actually taken care of because it had lacquer in it when we took it off the lanes. And DNR saw to that. And we also had a lagoon at the bowling alley, which has since been covered up.
What years was that, Don?
That was in 1975.
Oh, well, okay. Well, yeah, it's an evolution. I know. So anyway,
my thinking here is that the DNR has obviously got some different processes that they were using throughout the course of the time, and I guess there's a lot that a city can or can't do until DNR gives them the thumbs up or thumbs down on regulating a well or turning it on or turning it off or allowing drinking water to get to the masses in a particular city. So again, I'm wondering if the DNR is the group we should be kind of focusing on here this morning.
Well,
just to see if they can, just to see if
be the city.
It should.
See, that's my point. We shouldn't be the city. I just am so confused as why the city got involved with this, because the company, if I would have polluted, if I'd have just dumped the sawdust out in the parking lot and people run over and got sick, whatever, I would have been responsible. If Dawson's was dumping this stuff on us and polluting our water, Dawson should be responsible. How many tax dollars? And you could probably look it up if you need to.
Yeah, no, you're right on. You're right on. Why the city, the taxpayers, the ratepayers, we paid a lot of money, and we're a lot of money, and I don't think that that's fair. And we'll see.
It should be recouped from the people that did this, and the people that are sick, that are absolutely dying from this. There's so many people that died from this poisoning.
Because we didn't do it. The city didn't do it.
Exactly.
And we care about what took place
Well,
there.
let me. We're going around in circles here. Where does Modine stand in all of this, and why aren't they being contacted? I understand that the facility is owned by a bank now, but why aren't they being contacted? Because there was a lawsuit in the state of Illinois against Modine to the tune, I think, of I want to say $20+ million, and basically it was along the lines of the same situation of people were infected by the water. There were health issues that were determined to be there, and so the city and we have this conversation. It seems like every time Jeff is on, where does Modine fall into all of this, and why is Modine not being held with their feet to the fire to at least come in? And you're talking about recouping some of this money. Why not? Why are we not dealing with Modine? Why are there not attorneys that are trying to go after them to recoup some of this money if it does exist? If people know it exists, you've got the proof. Then what's the situation? Where's the holdup?
Well, see, that's why I'm pushing this so hard.
Yeah,
I'm not pushing it to hurt people.
No, absolutely not.
The city, I want the person responsible, the people responsible, to step up and take responsibility for this, because it's not the city that did it.
No,
it's not me that did it.
No.
It's not you that did it.
No,
these people need to come up and reimburse these folks that are having all these health problems. And the loss of their land values in that area is incredible. And this just needs to be taken care of. And I hope this committee, and I'm on the committee, there's 7 of us, and we're going to have a meeting, and I want to keep KB involved and you involved.
Yes, please,
too.
please.
And in the meantime, there is a lot of information, and I would, on the website, and I would refer everyone to MoDNR Camdenton TCE and become knowledgeable.
And I would also encourage people to dispel the misinformation that's going around, because, I think that's a large part of it as well. There's people that know something's going on, but they're not getting the type of information that they need, and there's the spreading of misinformation, which can almost be as bad, if not worse, than what folks are trying to deal with now. So, again, we encourage folks to do their research.
DNR was not going to change this. Their website did not have any of this truthful information on it until we started to bring this forward.
Thank you, Don.
And I think people should continue to do so. And Don, please, we're just about out of time this hour. I thank you for taking the time, as always, to be an advocate and a voice for the city, and to continue to push the issue, because that's essentially what it's going to take. So thank you, sir. Have a good one. Jeff, thank you, as always. Appreciate your time. And we will see you back here in the month of December.
Yeah, with MSU. Gib Atkins will be here on December the 3rd, I think, on a Wednesday.
Very good, sir. We'll look forward to that. 46 degrees on our way to a high of at least 51. We'll check that weather forecast on the other side of CBS and local news.